Is PCVR dying? Short answer, hell no. I've been seeing a lot of over-sensationalized headlines about the death of PCVR. Oh, is PCVR gonna be around in a few years? And I think it's a lot of overhype and honestly a lot of dooming going on. I honestly think people are doing too much, and we're gonna talk about a few reasons today why I think PCVR will be a-okay. Quick disclaimer before we get into the video. I'm just gonna let you guys know this is not a hit piece on Meta or any other companies. I have no attachments to pieces of plastic or companies. I have 4 Quest headsets, so I've invested a lot into the ecosystem, more than probably a lot of you guys have. So all aspects of VR are needed to make this thing work. So that means standalone PCVR, the MR, AR, all that stuff is needed to make this big thing work. With that being said, I'm RD VR, and this is 6 reasons why PCVR will never die. Just a little bit of backstory before we really get into the meat and potatoes. In general, VR has been in a bit of a slump after the initial explosion of VR in 2020, 2021 because of the pandemic and people being bored in their houses. Any of your favorite VR content creators will tell you those views during that time and the engagement was good. This has admittedly affected PCVR in a really bad way, since a lot of game devs have started going where the money is and the attention, which is standalone, aka Meta Quest. A lot of VR games have done exceptionally well on the Quest store and gained a ton of new following and monies. With the slump of new content and software for the PCVR crowd, there has been an explosion of PCVR dooming. Like, oh, PCVR is dead. PCVR is dying. And in a way, they're not wrong, but they're not exactly right either. I feel like, yes, there are less people engaging with PCVR in terms of this last year, but I feel like VR in general has seen a decline since that crazy explosion in 21, 22 and during the pandemic. The first reason on our list for PCVR never dying is the metaverse.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the?
No, not that metaverse. I mean the actual metaverse, which is VR chat. So I usually call them the Uwu gang, so I will reference them as the Uwu gang a lot of times in this video. VR chat released in 2014 and has gained a huge player base over the past few years, exploding over the pandemic, even this past month with the slump in VR content over the past year. VR chat has had a peak of 80,000 plus users, which is impressive. Even on the day I did research for this video, the Steam users usually accounts for almost half of VR chat's daily users. Now the caveat here is that some of the Steam users may not use VR headsets to play VR chat, but we can assume a lot of them do. Let's assume 90% of Steam users are using PC VR. That's still a lot of people using their headsets consistently, whether they be Indexes, Quest, whatever headset that the VR chat user has. The main question is, why get a whole expensive PC just for VR chat? I mean, it's available for standalone on Quest and PICO and other places. Well, my friends, there are a lot of people in the Uwu gang who love having accessories to further immersion. For example, full body tracking, face tracking, and eye tracking. All of these in combination literally insert you into the game as your favorite dancing lolly or furry wolf. This is an experience you really can't get anywhere else as of right now without a PC. There are technologies being created right now to allow that, but we sadly aren't there yet. The game also runs way better on PC as of right now, especially in worlds of more effects and just other things going on. It's ironic because I don't even like VR chat like that. Personally, I've never had a really amazing experience on there. But we have to be honest here. I mean, there's people going to clubs, DJing, filming, and even starting whole careers in that game. That is impressive. That's actually pretty amazing, even from just like a metaverse concept level. Like, where else can you really get that? Well, I guess other like rec rooms or like that. But we're not even talking about them. We're talking about the VR chat. Shout out the Uwu gang, because they are consistent. They will stay around as long as VR chat gives them a good platform, and you can count on them to keep using the PC VR headsets. Let's move on. Our second reason is the flight sim and race sim communities. These guys are consistent and dedicated. They spend dubious amounts of money to put into their setups just for sim racing and flight sim. They are a dedicated community of people who are always looking for the next premium PC VR headset, like the Big Screen Beyond, another Pimax headset, or Varo's next big consumer headset. Now, there are people who obviously play these games without a headset, but we can assume, like VR chat, that there are a lot of people who play in headset versus out. since it's another added layer of immersion that a lot of hardcore simmers seek. Even to a super casual like myself playing a game like Assetto Corsa with mods and VR, it's an amazing experience that you can't get in a lot of games. The closest I've come to outside of a PC for simming in VR that was amazing is Gran Turismo 7 on the PSVR, which really could be considered another PC VR experience, depending on how you look at it. The racing / flight sim communities I feel like are always forgotten when mentioned with PC VR because they have more of a niche inside of a already small niche. The overall impact to the general VR community can't be ignored because some of these guys get a lot of views like on TikTok, YouTube, and other social media platforms. Shout out to the dedication that a lot of the Assetto Corsa guys put into their mods, a lot of the Microsoft Flight Sim, like it's just a lot of potential, a lot of great content being made in these communities. And I do wish one day they get a bigger highlight because I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of entertaining to watch someone like those late night Assetto Corsa with the rain mod and, you know, driving through the cars late night in the city. I love those type of videos, man, with like some music in the background. Shout out to the simmers. But that's enough about sims. Let's talk about our third reason, and that is games with VR modes and or ports. Notable games in this category include Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky, Skyrim VR, Fallout 4 VR. These are just examples of games I love in VR and usually only play in VR now after experiencing it in headset. Anybody who's been on my channel for at least like a few months can tell you I love No Man's Sky in VR. That's like my only way I play the game now. I can't play it the regular way. It's a peak. It's just peak in VR, I'm sorry. On a PSVR 2 or even a powerful PC, it's just undefeated. The more games that get VR modes will always keep PCVR alive. Escape the Backrooms and Phasmophobia are great examples of this. Those are already great flat games that get up to an insane level with an added VR mode. There are always going to be people who buy Quest, Pico, or even PCVR only headsets to play these unique experiences. I'll have a video later this month highlighting some of the best games with VR mode, so check it out in a few weeks, man. Now our next reason is going to be really controversial and admittedly debatable, I'm not gonna lie, and that is marketing. Any VR content creator, streamer, recorder of anything VR on a standalone side can tell you that recording anything in a Quest is annoying. I mean, it's annoying as not even gonna lie to you. After all these years, we finally got a decent looking option for wired casting at higher resolutions and a better view with wired casting 2.0. Side note, I do have a tutorial for that if you're interested, but back to business. Most of the viral videos that you are gonna see that are VR related is PCVR footage. From Boneworks to VR Chat to Blade and Sorcery, PCVR dominates in terms of raw viral footage. Now there is a large caveat here. I have to get some pushback here. I have to give Meta some credit for actually creating advertisements and commercials to show people XR in general. The mixed reality footage has been going crazy on the timelines from like TikTok, YouTube, all that. And the advertisements help a lot and has influenced a lot of people to get into affordable XR devices. But with that being said, until Quest or any other standalone headset gets casting / recording right for OBS or any other streaming recording software, you're stuck with PCVR, my boys. The fifth reason is the modding community. Now, these people deserve all the praise on God's earth for what they do for our community. Coffee for them all, give them beers. The modding community deserves all the praise in the world for damn near holding up PCVR this year with interesting VR mods to games. Notable examples of this is Hellsplit Arena with their like RE4 mode and a bunch of other crazy stuff. Skyrim VR, which was terrible. It's a terrible game base, but now that all the mod stuff have been added, it's a lot better. The Resident Evil PC VR mods, which makes the game amazing and almost even rivals the Capcom actual port for their VR game. Doom 3 BFG VR is another great addition. That is a lot of fun to be had in there, and I even streamed it a few times, and I liked it. I really liked it more than the flat game, to be honest with you. And last but not least, the Half-Life VR mods, which is very impressive and has full range of motion. That is really cool. There are obviously a bunch more, but being able to experience flat games in VR adds a dubious amount of content and joy to the PCVR experience. The Cyberpunk 2077 VR mod has gotten a crazy amount of attention even outside of the VR community. And I'm not gonna lie, as a VR content creator, that's really what we want, is to reach outside of our niche and pull people in. Also, we have to mention it. We have to highlight the Prey Dog UE VR mod that has been in development for some time now. I don't know when it's gonna release, to be honest with you, but when it does, I can see it potentially changing a lot in the PC VR community by converting Unreal Engine games to actual regular VR games, some with full 6 range degree of field motion. I've seen some gameplay of a few flat to VR games, and it really could convince a lot of people to get into PC VR gaming, especially if every Unreal Engine game could be a full-fledged VR game, or even a lot of them with full motion controls, or even half motion controls. Hopefully that mod comes out soon. Prey Dog has been working on it and putting out updates. Shout out to Flat2 VR on Twitter. I love that page. I love seeing new stuff they put out. They're pretty cool people. Check them out. Now, our last but not least option is the graphic horrors. Now that is, I know it's a crazy title for them, but bear with me. These are the people who buy 4090s and sit in Half-Life Alyx or Elite Dangerous for hours admiring the graphics and details. Yes, I am talking about myself. I would definitely classify myself as a graphic horror, and it's not an end all be all for, my gaming experience, but damn, do I love a good game with graphics, right? There are a lot of people whose first PC VR experience was Half-Life Alyx, and now continue to chase that graphic peak in their VR games. Games like Red Matter, Hubris, Modded Assetto Corsa, and even my VR game of the year, Vertigo 2, scratch that itch for sure, but there are a lot of PC VR peeps always looking for that next VR game or mod that kind of gives them that wow when you put on the headset. Personally, being immersed with high graphic fidelity made me and a bunch of other people with too much extra money fall in love with PC VR. Now that I've kind of listed all the main reasons why I think the PC VR community will be just fine and why I think PC VR will never actually fully die, we gotta talk about some of the counter arguments, because I have said a lot of things and there are a lot of counter arguments to my claims. So let's talk about some of them. First, I know a lot of you guys are gonna say, okay, there haven't been a lot of PC VR releases this year. And honestly, it makes sense. There are more standalone users than PC VR users. It makes sense because, it's more affordable, let's be honest. PCs do cost a little bit of money. So obviously, since there is a bigger market in a standalone, developers are going to develop, more standalone games. So like games on the Quest or Pico store, releasing on App Lab, all that good stuff. Makes sense. Plus, there's only so many configurations you really have to account for if you're, developing for a Quest or a PSVR headset. Sorry. Any dev will tell you that developing for PC can be annoying in general. But developing for PC VR can be even more annoying because there's so many PC VR headsets with different controllers, different layouts, different weird things about them. And it's just honestly a headache. I get it, to be honest with you. I do think that in a few years, when an affordable standalone PC VR headset that fits a wide variety of needs arrives, there will be another resurgence of new PC VR users. It could be the Valve Deckard that may drop within the next 30 years. I don't see it coming anytime soon, but I do have a theory that at some point, a Steam Deck will be powerful enough to connect a VR headset to. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but it kind of feels like that's where Valve is going. And if that's what Valve is going for, then that definitely will change the game. But sadly, I'm not holding my breath because Valve, even though I love them very dearly, they are very slow and move on their own time. They have a lot of money and resources to kind of do whatever they want. So we probably won't expect that Deckard for another 5 years, to be quite honest with you. And just food for thought, even when a new Quest headset drops, there's always an uptick in people playing PC VR games. So you gotta think, a lot of people who are getting Quest headsets also happen to have PCs. Now this isn't the case with most Quest users probably, but there's also a small number, which is the minority, that probably have a PC capable of running some VR game on some level. So with every big release for a Quest headset, there's always more PC VR users. No, they're not buying Valve Indexes or Pimaxes or Big Screen Beyonds, but they are contributing to the ecosystem by buying the games and actually playing them. So No, the next Quest headset that release is going to be another resurgence of new PC VR players. And also, just to put it on the record, I am not one of those people who think that the Preydog UEVR mod is going to save PC VR gaming. It's not. I'm sorry. Most people don't even like going through the hassle of modifying their games on any level. I do think there will be a uptick in people who are, trying out these flat games and with the VR injected mod. But I don't think it's one of those things where it's selling like thousands and thousands of PCVR headsets for people just to try a, flat to VR mod. Yes, PCVR and even general VR is in a slump, and maybe for a while. But as XR grows, in general, every community grows. The pandemic was a once in a lifetime event that brought a crazy amount of VR users, and something like that won't happen again for a long time. Hopefully. My last pet peeve pertains to the PC VR community itself. And I'm gonna actually turn to the camera for this one. Every VR game can't be Half-Life Alyx, guys. Valve has a lot of money to work with, a lot of resources, and a lot of the content that we get in the VR community is indie based, because AAA as of right now is kind of scared to get into it because it's still very small and very niche. At some point, we have to move on and let new great titles have their own identity. Vertigo 2 is a great title that can honestly rival a titan like Half-Life Alyx. Is it the most graphically realistic game? No. But is it offering an amazing PC VR experience that should be celebrated? Hell yeah. So give new VR games a chance. There's a lot of good games that have actually came out this year and are coming out next year that could really keep our community going and should be celebrated and highlighted. Just saying. With all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, man. It took a while to make. So make sure you like and comment so the algorithm actually picks this one up, because I actually want people to see this, and I hope that my points reach just a large enough audience so that people can really have an actual discussion. If you disagree with me in the comments, that's fine. If you agree with me in the comments, that's fine. Just let me know what you guys think below. And I also have sponsors below. So if you want to go to VR Cover, you want to get some prescription lenses, I have great discount codes, and they are having a lot of deals right now. So check them out in this description below. With that being said, it's me with Mardu VR. And just remember, I'm just a dude with a VR headset. Peace.